Hi, everyone. Welcome to our talk today. We are going to talk all about something that affects many of us, which is hand eczema. And I know that myself, I suffered from this for a very long time, and I couldn't even use my hands to write properly at times. And so today I have the naturopath on our Eczema Conquerors team, who is Ben, and he's going to share a lot about hand and how rashes can affect the area, why it happens, and what the top root causes are. And Ben himself also went through severe eczema and he's gone through it for most of his life. So, welcome to the show. It's very nice to have you here again.
Thanks, Abby. And I think this hand eczema topic is so close to heart because I had it myself, and also so many of our clients have hand eczema also. And so just 2 days ago, had a patient. This young girl, she shared that her hands are all raw, and her mom told me that in the past she couldn't even hold food in her hands because you get so raw and she get itchy. But then after just 2 months of support, and then she shared that now her daughter can hold chicken wings in her hands and not have a flash. She eats from her hands again. Um, and that was such a heartwarming moment for me.
Yeah, those are the best moments when clients see improvements and healing, and it feels very nice to make their day.
Very much, very much.
So tell me more about when eczema shows up on the hands and what the top root causes are. Why does it happen? I'll let you take it away and let you decide where to start because I know it's such a broad topic.
Sure, sure. And so I think that for eczema conquerors, whenever clients come to us, they have tried everything before. They've tried probiotics, they've tried fish oils, they've tried multivitamins, and nothing has quite helped. And so over in Eczema Conquest, we take a very evidence-based approach for skin healing. And so let me share my screen and let's discuss. Let me write down some of the pointers for all of you today. Let me share my screen and let me go to my Microsoft Word.
Sure. And as you share, I'll just quickly share that for myself, I had dyshydrotic eczema for a very long time. And there was a period when I would eat something, and whenever I ate the wrong thing, my hands and skin would flare up a lot. And so I know that we have many clients who some of them only have it on their hands, and some have it on their hands and on other parts of their body. So it definitely affects so many of us, and it's such an important topic. And so, Ben, I know that you have so much that you want to say about it as well.
Sure. And so one of the first root causes is actually low iron. And this is often overlooked because whenever we we think of hand eczema, doctors will tell patients, oh, what is your hand wash? Are you using a irritating soap, which is a good point. But then hand eczema is often more than just the wrong soap. It's oftentimes a more internal issue, and so we take a more root cause approach in eczema conquest. And the first one, does my screen come up? Do you see my?
Oh, yep. I'll put it on screen.
Great, great. So the first root cause that we work on is actually iron, and there was this paper around over 10 years ago, and I still find this paper very helpful in eczema because this paper found, and I'll just paste some of the findings to you. Let me just get I'll paste it. Yeah. So, a few useful clues. Number one is that iron intake limits nickel absorption from the diet. Now, why is this so important? It's because hand eczema is often due to nickel sensitivity. And I had a patient who came a month ago, and her whole hands were raw, and she couldn't cook, she couldn't, and whenever people would approach her to shake hands, she would get major social anxiety. And for me, I recall myself when my hands were all raw and bleeding. Whenever someone say, "Hi, Ben, nice to meet you," and then I'll be, oh, like I'll get a heart, my heart will beat faster because I'll feel feel self-conscious at what happens if they feel my raw my raw flicking wet weeping hands. And so that lady who saw me, in just 3 weeks, when she reduced nickel from her diet, hand eczema has cleared up almost 95% in 3 weeks. And when I asked her, oh, what are you having for your diet? She said, oh, I began my diet with peanut butter in the morning, and I have almonds and cashews for lunch. And then in the evening, I have a salad with sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds and dark chocolate. And all these are high nickel foods, and the nickel accumulates. And she was having Pomflex eczema. So the Pomflex eczema is where you see these small water bubbles, these small vesicles or these small blisters on the sides of your fingers, and oftentimes there's a compulsion to pop these pesky things, and yeah.
For sure. And I know that we've seen many of our clients as well who have been impacted by nickel foods and who have shared that when they reduced nickel foods, their skin improved a lot too.
Yeah, so the first root cause, and I think some of our listeners may be wondering, oh, so must I avoid chocolate for my whole life? I mean, life would be quite sad without chocolates, right? So, rest assured, the root cause is not to avoid high nickel foods for your whole life. The root cause is to keep the bucket low, and then we will repair the gut lining, address circulation, increase iron, manage or rebalance the excess bacterial and fungal overgrowth in the gut. And then when my patients add in nickel again in foods, they do not get the same flare up. So rest assured, this first point is only a temporary solution, and then we'll discuss some of the longer term solutions to have you eating your happy foods again. Go ahead.
For sure. And yeah, it's so important to know that this is only a short term solution. And we definitely want to get to the root cause so that you don't have to always be on this diet forever.
Major. And what I love about eczema conquest is that we are very root cause focused, because some clients come to us saying, oh, I'm on supplements, or I'm on these herbs, but when these are stopped, it comes back again. So even though like I find that there can also be cases where natural medicine is prescribed in an allopathic way, because we can also suppress symptoms with herbs and supplements, but if you stop it, it comes back. So our aim is to stop these things, supplements, and have you eating your foods again for the long term, and not having a relapse, and not being reliant on supplements for the rest of your life.
For sure. Yeah. And I was just going to quickly share this photo as well from one of our clients, and you can see how much her skin improved. This is not the same dyshydrotic eczema that I went through, but she did have a lot of infections. And I know that she did work with you. Yeah, and it was nice that she saw. So you can see that her, for those who are just listening in, the left side of her before photo was very raw, inflamed, and had infections. And you can see that her skin on the after photo is pretty much like more than 90% clear. Looks almost completely, like almost 100% clear.
This is amazing. I recall she was a baker, was she? Was she a baker? Was she in some
I think
food?
she may have been something to do with her hands.
Yes, I recall that. Yeah, so and just as a side note, oftentimes if we had seen the left photo, many practitioners would think, oh, this is TSW. But hers wasn't TSW. She was off steroids for a long time. We addressed the Staph aureus, addressed the gut dysbiosis, addressed the lymphatic system, and it has cleared up. So yeah.
Yeah, very happy for her. And this is just one of many testimonials that we see, because we do see positive testimonies pretty much on a weekly basis, which is really nice as well.
100%. And so going back to the paper, that paper, one very heartwarming thing that I really appreciated was that they said fast improvement was noted in the hand eczema. And this is a huge number. Those are small sample size, but it's a huge number. 83% of patients had a complete clearance of hand eczema in just 12 weeks. And there were major reductions in nickel blood levels. Why was that so? Because iron displaces nickel. So, and this brings us to our second root cause. So the first root cause, I'll just write it down here. bit above. Root causes of hand eczema. The first root cause is number one, high nickel intake from diets. Things like dark chocolates, nuts and seeds. Like for example, peanut butter, cashews, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, and so on. So most nuts and seeds are high in nickel. And also cooking acidic foods in stainless steel containers. So I had a patient with hand eczema, and she was sharing that she can eat raw tomatoes, but when she cooks the tomatoes in her stainless steel pot, her hand flares up because the acidic foods leach nickel from the stainless steel pots. Now, then this brings us to our next root cause, because then our clients will ask, oh, must I avoid all these foods for my whole life? Must I not use stainless steel? Must I, and life becomes fearful, and we don't want to trigger fear because, having eczema is enough stress for all of us, and then to then feel that, oh, nuts are bad, chocolate's bad, stainless steel is bad, life becomes fearful, and we can't live that way. And then the second root cause that we want to discuss today is the low iron. And in Eczema Conquest, we focus quite a lot on testing. Of course, not testing doesn't handicap us, but then we test to give the root causes or to confirm root causes. The second test that we do is low iron. Oh, sorry. The second test we do is iron testing. We make sure we test the full iron panel. This includes ferritin, which reflects iron storage, serum iron, transferrin iron binding capacity, transferrin saturation, so the full iron panel. This will tell us whether, and this is a very useful clinical tip. Ferritin is often used as an iron storage marker, which is useful, but we also often add on CRP and CRP and ESR. CRP stands for C-reactive protein, and ESR stands for erythrocyte sedimentation rate. These two are markers of inflammation, because if these are high and your ferritin is high, then inflammation artificially bumps up ferritin. But if these are low and your ferritin is low, then we know that the low iron is quite likely the main root cause.
That's very helpful for sure. And I feel like this isn't always shared with the people in the eczema community, so it's definitely very helpful for them to be able to hear this as well.
Yes, and so I'll write this down here for our listeners. So number 2 is low iron, because iron displaces nickel, and so oftentimes when our clients do blood tests, the ferritin levels come back as like 35 or 40, and then the reference range is 30 to 200 or 30 to 300. And then their PCPs will say, oh, no, your iron is fine, no, ferritin is within range. But within range doesn't mean it's optimal. We aim for ferritin of around 90 or 100, ideally, from a naturopathic perspective, because normal isn't optimal. And so ferritin around 90, I believe the unit is nanograms per mil from memory. And so we aim to bump this up to that level. Now, one common question is what iron forms are suitable, because iron can often cause constipation, and this is a common complaint that many of our clients share. So using gentle, non-constipating iron forms like iron bisglycinate. This is a very gentle iron. It doesn't cause constipation often, unlike the other iron forms like ferrous fumarate, ferrous gluconate, and so on. So we will make sure that the iron is suitable for you.
Thank you, Ben. That's very helpful. And if anyone who's listening has any questions, feel free to enter them into the chat at any time.
And also focus on testing. So we look at a full iron panel with ferritin and include inflammatory markers like ESR and CRP, so that we know that high inflammation, or rather, so that we can assess whether high inflammation is artificially bumping up ferritin. So this is the root cause number two. We have three more root causes that we should discuss. Because for some clients, after you increase iron, the hand eczema improves, and after you reduce nickel, the hand eczema improves, but you still have some hand eczema left. So I always tell my clients that this is like a onion. You may have a few layers to peel, and therefore peeling the first two layers, which is a high nickel intake and a low iron, can give you maybe 60% improvements. But the 40% more requires the other root causes to be addressed. And so the other root cause that we often find is low vitamin C intake.
And yeah, I think our audience would love to hear more about how vitamin C can interact with the skin, especially because we all hear about vitamin C a lot. But I think that that's something that not a lot of people would have heard of when it comes to hand eczema.
For sure. And there are three main roles of vitamin C for the skin. We all know it builds collagen, which is great. At the same time, and more importantly for hand eczema, it displaces nickel. So vitamin C and iron, they both push out nickel, or they both compete for absorption with nickel. So the more vitamin C and the more iron we have, or rather the more sufficient it is, then the more nickel cannot be absorbed into the small intestinal lining and into the body. Number three is that vitamin C is also it also reduces IgE, and IgE, as you know, is the inflammation, is the allergic marker for us, and many of us with eczema and with an atopic tendency have a high IgE level. In fact, among our clients, I've seen IgE in 20,000 IgE, or like even 30,000 and above, when IgE should be below 100. And we focus a lot on antioxidants over here in Eczema Conquest because, again, this is very evidence-based, and there are research papers showing that antioxidant supplements play a big part in eczema. And I'll just paste this paper for our listeners today also here. And these are all PubMed papers, which are all the clinical research, and they showed that antioxidant supplementation in treatment, this isn't prevention, this is treatment of eczema, which is important, because many papers look at prevention, but this is treatment. And they have found that I'll just paste some of the findings here. I'll just paste it below. So they found that reactive oxygen species, or ROSs, are involved in AD pathogenesis. The word pathogenesis means that the start of the eczema. Patho, which means the disease. Genesis is a start. So it causes cellular damage and inflammation, resulting in skin barrier dysfunction. And therefore, having antioxidants would quell the ROSs. And think of ROS like the fire, and antioxidants like the water. So the more you have the fire burning, the more we must counteract the fire with ROSs, and therefore vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin C, carotenoids, which is vitamin A precursors, are crucial in quenching the oxidative damage and the cellular damage with eczema and hand eczema too.
And I think that's a really good point that you brought up, because I remember one time when I ran out of my antioxidants, because I do take them. I try to take them daily lately, and when I ran out, I noticed my skin was flaring more. And when I got back into the routine, my skin actually got better. And so it's really nice to know that the antioxidants really help a lot.
100%. And also, oftentimes whenever we think of antioxidants, we think of vitamin C, or maybe like turmeric. But actually, one other antioxidant that is commonly forgotten even. It's actually vitamin E, and vitamin E is often forgotten in favor of the popular ones like vitamin D. But actually, vitamin E is equally as important, if not, I dare say, more important in eczema than the other antioxidants, because it's even rare to find a randomized controlled trial of vitamin E. I mean, for nutrients, people don't fund RCTs for nutrients. But this was an RCT with a decent sample size. And what they found was that giving vitamin E, and I use vitamin E quite a lot in hand eczema also. I find it gives results. They found that there was so I've highlighted this part here, that vitamin E gave a, where was it? So the extent of the lesion was 10.85 reduction in the vitamin E group, but 3.56 reduction in the placebo group. So it was a 3 times increase or 3 times improvement in the size of the eczema in the treatment group, which is the vitamin E group. And also what was significant is the SCORAD. You see a SCORAD on the third line here, the SCORAD index. SCORAD index is a composite score of the eczema. So they want to see how SCORAD, or what the overall eczema score, it actually also improved around 3 times more in the vitamin E group versus placebo. Therefore, it's a major improvement. And so this also links back to your point, Abby, about having sufficient antioxidants to quench a fire.
Yeah, for sure. And this is a really helpful paper that you showed. And for those of you who are listening right now, just type in the chat and let us know if you're on antioxidants daily or if it's something that you're considering, because it'll definitely be helpful to know about it and to hear more about what you're currently doing for your skin.
Yes. And so going back to our root causes, the fourth root cause is low vitamin E, and there was a paper that also showed that it reduces IgE by up to 60%. It wasn't in that paper, but this other paper I read, it was a big reduction in IgE. So now we've discussed a lot of the biomedical solutions, or rather the biochemical solutions, so iron and vitamin E, vitamin C. But also over in Eczema Conquest, we don't just look at, we are not just solely focused on functional medicine. We are also more broad than that. We combine TCM, Chinese medicine, we combine Ayurvedic medicine. And so we want to see the body not just in functional medicine terms, but also energetic terms. And so from the TCM angle, the Chinese medicine angle, hand eczema often reflects what you call a lack of yin. The yin and yang. So yin reflects the water, it's a moisture. And so when we lack yin, when we lack water, and this water isn't just hydration, it means circulation, it means fluids, it means having electrolytes and having the fluids enter our cells, the intracellular hydration. So what I mean is that not just having water intake, I mean electrolytes, hydration, adrenal function has to be good to have sufficient yin. So also the key question is, why the hands? Why not the neck? Why not the body? Why not the trunk? Why is it the hands? The hands are the most peripheral to the heart. And the heart pumps blood to the rest of the body. So then why is it the hands? Why is it the furthest area away from the heart? Therefore, I always tell my patients that this analogy is this: you have a river. Your river has not enough water. Therefore, the river cannot nourish and perfuse the small trajectories downstream. And this is the same analogy. And therefore this brings us to our fifth root cause, which is poor circulation. This is crucial. I can give you all the vitamin C I want, I can reduce all the nickel I want, but if your circulation is poor, the hand eczema will not heal because there's no water perfusing the river beds and you get dry. And if it's dry, you get itchy.
And actually, I was watching a video of a laser, like a dermatologist who she does lasers, uh, as one of her specialties, and she was actually sharing that she had lasers done on her hands and her face as well. And she said that the hands actually heal a lot slower than the face, and she said it's because the hands are further away from the heart and because there's less circulation. And yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, and this is so interesting, and therefore, I feel like not I feel rather when I blend my herbal formulas for my patients, what I do is actually this, and I'll share my screen. So um, bring blood to the hands, and so we use herbs, and in eczema conquest we oftentimes customize herbal teas and customize herbal liquids for our clients, and so whenever I customize herbal blends, I always include this class of herbs called circulatory stimulants to bring blood flow to the hands. Um, and there are many herbs out there. For example, prickly ash, gotukola, and also herbs like red sage. So, but of course, these are what we prescribe professionally. So we advise that you don't self medicate, because these herbs do have some interactions, and also therefore in our consultations with our clients we make sure that we check the herb drug interactions, because red sage, for example, can also be have blood thinning effects. Prickly ash may not be good for people with a hot constitution. Therefore, we'll match the match the herbs to your energetics. Are you hot, cold, damp, dry? And therefore, the herbal selection is also based on your body's constitution.
And really appreciate how, especially being able to customize the herbs and customize everything, can really make a difference in each client, especially because all of you are so unique.
100%. And the poor circulation is not just because of low iron. So root causes, is it low iron? Is it chronic fear? And this is a very important point to discuss, because there's this saying at that we are what, pale with fear. When we are afraid, our face gets pale, right? Um, and when our bodies are in a chronic fight or flight response, and when the fear response takes over, the blood flow gets shunted away from our skin and to our muscles and our heart to run away from an imagined threat, which is useful from an evolutionary perspective. But if we have had trauma, if we have had uh, trauma, and oftentimes our whole brain is in a danger mode, and therefore this chronic fear response can shunt blood away from our peripheries also.
For sure. I think that the emotions play such a big part in healing and in our journey as well.
100%. And also, so um, one other thing that I focus on a lot in my practice is also the stress response or chronic fear, because again I can give people the best circulation herbs. I can replenish your vitamin E, replenish iron, replenish or reduce nickel. But if we are always in a fear state, then it will affect the hand eczema, because from a more metaphysical perspective, our hands reflect our love, reflects our efforts, and the hands can oftentimes also reflect. Um, so our hands are our source of like effort, of work, of love, and so if there's trauma that relate to these areas, and I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, but I've noticed that our clients with chronic fear or who don't feel loved, the hand eczema also develops. And I find it in our clients with a very type A personality, who drive themselves hard, the hand eczema is more common.
For sure. And yeah, everything you everything you said, it really resonates. And I know that even for myself, I fit a lot of that personality type, and I also used to have the hand eczema as well. So yeah, it's something that is something that is commonly seen, especially in type A personalities.
Exactly, and also I wrote on this point in about self-soothing mechanisms because a lot of my patients when their hand eczema was severe, they would say, "Oh, they say Ben, whenever I'm stressed, I'll place my hands under the table and I'll scratch, and it feels so good." And ask them, why do you scratch? They say it feels great. It feels like, I feel comforted because, of course, we feel terrible after we scratch because it's painful, but when you're scratching it, it feels really, really pleasurable.
For sure. A lot of relief. I know that whenever I used to work at my corporate job and I was anxious, I would always go like this and like just itch my fingers, but I would just rub it and itch it. And I'm sure my boss could tell because, yeah, I noticed her looking at my hands one day. So I think it was very obvious.
And this brings us to our next root cause is also that we need to also then balance the neurotransmitters. Which so neurotransmitters, the word neuro means nervous system, and then transmitters is the signal. So serotonin, dopamine, um, histamine, which are very crucial neurotransmitters. If we are low in serotonin, which is the happy brain chemical, then we may resort to itching to be happy. And when I mean that, I'm saying that itching gives us the feel good. It makes us feel good, albeit for a while, but then it still feels good when we're scratching it. So yeah, the last root cause that I wish to discuss is actually the overgrowth of actually two more root causes actually. In some of my clients who are vegetarian or vegan, um, there's a low protein. And lack of protein means that there's insufficient collagen production, and also, therefore, the dry skin, cracked skin, and therefore eczema happens. And no, definitely, we respect each person's dietary choices, and our job is to work around that. And so, for many of our vegetarian or vegan clients, we make sure that they have sufficient protein through plant-based sources like pea protein, rice protein, having more chickpeas and more beans and lentils. But having protein is crucial because some of our clients, they become so fearful of foods that they only are eating like fruits or eating leafy greens, and then the protein gets forgotten and the eczema becomes worse.
I remember for myself, there was a point when I only ate vegan foods, raw vegan, just to help my skin get better. And I did reach a plateau at one point and I started losing my memory. But once I added back in the more fats and protein, it helped my skin get a lot better.
Yeah, and also I had a similar experience to Abby. I recall when I was in my teens, um, I thought that meat was toxic, and I mean, and I thought that it's all meat is bad. Therefore, I stopped. I was vegan for a year, and I recall just eating quinoa with olive oil and broccoli. I just ate the same thing for like almost a year, and I felt very cold. And in Singapore, the weather is so hot, and I'll be wearing a sweater and jeans and long pants in this sweltering heat because I felt so cold, and then I recall I think I was iron deficient, and also protein deficient, and that definitely this not at all to say which diet is good or bad because we respect each person's dietary choices, but my own experience was that when I was vegan, my skin was so flared up, but again, maybe I did it wrong, but the main point is that low protein and low iron is common among vegan diets, and therefore it must be supplemented.
Mhm. Yeah, I completely agree. And everything that you shared about and mentioned on this this document is incredibly helpful. And hopefully, for everyone listening, it also gives you some insight into other solutions that you may not have tried. And the really great thing about that I really believe about our team is that our team really helps to not only help you find the missing gaps, but also to help you unpack your own unique eczema story and build your personalized plan. Because even though Ben is writing out all these general solutions, but ultimately we are able to tailor it even further to you, because sometimes there can be other things that we need to take into account. Like, for example, if you're female, if there's hormonal imbalances, or if you're experiencing other symptoms as well, like anxiety, or if you had a lot of trauma in the past, or even uh, gut issues, or any other parts of your gut health or infections, are all things that we can take into account and further personalize this so that it can really be effective in helping to get to the root cause.
100%. And also, oftentimes it can seem overwhelming. Like, which one do I do first? Do I reduce nickel first? Do I increase protein? Do I increase vitamin E, vitamin C? And then some clients end up taking like 20 supplements at one time. So therefore, our protocols are never excessive, and we prioritize your root causes through not just testing, but also combining a TCM perspective, a energetic perspective to your case, and matching the herbs to you based on your body's energetics, if you're hot, cold, damp, or dry, and also to assess your overall constitution. We see your tongue, we see your skin. Is your skin hot? Is it cold? And all these matters in our prescribing.
For sure, I completely agree. And I also want to add that if any of you are interested in learning more about how we work with our clients, or you're interested in learning about our Eczema Conquerors program, I'm going to put a link in the description so that you're welcome to book a complimentary breakthrough call with someone on our team who they've all the eczema advisors have gone through eczema and topical steroid withdrawal. So they'd love to help you and share their own experiences and really guide you on how we can accelerate your results for what you're going through as well.
100%. And just a quick one, the last root cause that we address is the gut microbiome. And I think the reason why I put this last is because it's not because it is not important, but it's because everyone knows about the gut. So almost all naturopaths will do gut work for you. But then how our approach differs is that I don't believe in killing excessively. I find that with eczema, a lot of clients come to us having been on strong antimicrobials. They are doing berberines, oregano oils, and they're just nuking and nuking more of the gut microbiome. We believe in not just killing, but in feeding and nurturing. So we look at prebiotics, probiotics, and even if we do use antimicrobials for the gut, we make sure that they are more selective. Herbs like pomegranate, husk, green tea, garlic, which are more selective, and not just nuclear bombing the whole gut with all of oregano for a prolonged duration, which isn't a solution.
For sure, we definitely want to make sure that we go at a gentle rate and really hear what's and see what's happening to you inside your body as well, because your body always communicates to us, and we want to make sure that we do everything gently as well.
100%.
Yeah. Did you have anything you wanted to add about the gut health part?
Yeah, so I think gut health, though I feel that most of our clients who come to us, they have tried a lot of gut work already. But then I'll just add in some points here that about how eczema chronic is different, or how our approach differs from the usual killing. So focus on feeding gut microbiome instead of just killing. So how we do this is using selectively acting antimicrobial herbs. For example, pomegranate, green tea, garlic, and also we then focus on building up good bacteria to crowd out that bacteria. And so whenever our clients look at this, they think, oh sure, I'll just pop some probiotics. Not really, because probiotics, they do not colonize the gut, except for some spore-based ones. But if you take your lactobacilli rhamnosus GG, for example, it's not going to colonize the gut. It's just going to pass through the gut. And it does have benefits, but it has transient benefits as it passes through the gut lining. So we focus on really building up your gut, in particular things like using prebiotics, like partially hydrolyzed guar gum, gauze, force, inulin. And so I love to use prebiotics because prebiotics, they are like the fertilizer that feeds your indigenous bacteria, and not just, like not just parachutes in a, a foreign bacteria into your gut microbiome. And um and I love to use it because, again, in Eczema Conquest, we look at evidence, and we are very evidence based. And if you see the research in PubMed just this year only, it's such an interesting paper. They just showed that, let me just share my screen. So here, so where's it? Partial hydrolyzed guar gum ingestion suppresses eczema-like symptoms through prebiotic effects. Sure, it's an animal study, but it's still important to deduce benefits from there. And why does it increase, or why does it help eczema? Because it feeds butyrate. And we run a lot of GI maps in our practice, and we find that butyrate is often low in the GI maps in our clients. And they showed here that, they gave guar gum PHEG to the mice, and this is so useful. Just 4 weeks, only 4 weeks of PHEG, it prevented the loss of epidermal barrier integrity, which means that it makes your gut not so leaky. Um, and whenever we think of leaky gut, people often think of, oh, let's give you some L-glutamine, give you some superior. Not always. I believe in actually using PHEG because it's crucial. It's not just glutamine. And they found that giving PHEG actually also, so where was it? There it is. So it modulates the gut microbiome, resulting in enhanced butyrate production. And as I shared just now, butyrate is crucial in eczema because butyrate is a short chain fatty acid, and this short chain fatty acid is it's like the fertilizer for your plants to grow. And how it works is it suppresses Th2 function in gut immunity. Th2 stands for T helper cell 2, and this T helper cell 2 includes subsets like interleukin 4 and IL-13. And it so happens that Dupixent or dupilumab also blocks IL-4 and IL-13. And therefore, suppressing Th2 is crucial. And and why should we suppress Th2 artificially when we can raise butyrate and suppress Th2 in a more natural way and in a more upstream way, by which is a more root cause focused approach, and therefore lowering Th2, which is IL-4, IL-10, suppresses the eczema lesions.
Yeah, it's so great that it can help with so many different things. And it's so nice that the more that we support our gut and that we help it, the more that it can in turn help to support our skin as well.
Exactly. And so therefore, and I also find that not I find, rather one difference that we do in eczema conquest is that we also look at spore-based probiotics, because I find that spore-based probiotics are not so reactive compared to the lactobacilli or the bifidobacteria, especially in our patients with SIBO, because we don't just see skin in our practice. Our eczema clients come to us having SIBO, having IBS, having Hashimoto's, having menopausal symptoms, and therefore we not just treat the skin, but we also address the overall picture. And so our clients say that, oh, their hot flushes have improved, or they don't have to have diarrhea 2 minutes after eating food. They don't bloat with garlic like before. So therefore, we address the whole picture, and we match the supplements to not just the eczema, but we match it to your overall health condition.
Yeah, and I think that's important. The more that it can be personalized to you, the better, because we've had many clients who have come to work with us who said that they did work with a practitioner or a naturopath, but they didn't specialize in eczema. And so they found that they weren't seeing as much improvements. And it makes a really big difference when you work with someone who knows the different ins and outs of what helps the skin versus someone who only works with eczema on certain occasions. Because for us, we do work on it on a daily basis with clients, and so it's pretty much the only thing that we see in and out every day. And while we do have some practitioners who may have slightly different approaches, but overall it's all catered and personalized to you. And the more that it can be personalized, the more that it will be effective for you as well. And so, also just a reminder, if you are interested in checking out more about us or learning about how we work and how we can help you and help you accelerate your healing, you're welcome to book a complimentary breakthrough call in the link in the description. And we'd love to help support you on your healing journey.
For sure. And also, I think, Abby, to add on to your point about having been through the journey before, I recall before I became a naturopath, I had seen countless naturopaths in my journey, and they were great practitioners. However, after a few months, they'll all say, Ben, I've done everything for you, and I'm not sure what else I can do anymore for you. And I felt so rejected and dejected. And after having been through this too many times, I I then became my own naturopath and pursued my own formal studies, 4 years full time as a naturopath. And I think that having been through the journey really shapes our approach so differently from other practitioners. Of course, we respect every practitioner. I think all practitioners are great. However, I think living through the condition yourself is different. Having first-hand experience through the sleepless nights, through the bloody bed sheets, through the skin flakes that are on your floor every morning, through the low times, through the anxiety, through all these low times, and not knowing when the skin can recover, it's really it shapes our journey profoundly. And therefore, when we see our clients, it shapes our protocols differently from other practitioners.
For sure. And I think that's a really important part as well, is how, especially that part about when you've gone through it and being able to relate to clients. So it's definitely a very nice touch as well.
100%.
Yeah. I know that we've almost reached the end of it. So if any of you have questions, feel free to leave them. We do have someone who said, I'm not currently on it, but they did take vitamin E and their skin was the best it's ever been.
Yeah. So this is an important point because there are also two things I picked up from what you shared. Number one is that um, um, you shared how taking them, it can be hard to remember to take them sometimes, and so we also want to make sure that our protocols are easy for all of our clients. So if taking supplements isn't convenient, then we look at food as medicine. Olive oil has a very good vitamin E profile. Olive oil, even almonds, these are very vitamin E rich foods, and therefore we don't just believe in giving more and more pills and more pills. Rather, we believe in actually giving you food as medicine. Therefore, having olive oil and having a handful of almonds a day can actually give you a good vitamin E source. And also, for the vitamin E, we also look at how do we make it more easy to take. Do you use a liquid? Do you use a soft gel? So rest assured, we will customize a plan for you based on your preferences or your lifestyle, because life is busy and we'll work around your lifestyle to have it easy to administer for you.
For sure. And the more that we can work with you to make the plan doable, the the higher the success rate as well. So we always want to cater it to you, but also balance that out with knowing what's effective and what's a helpful approach to take.
For sure.
And I know we're near the end of it. Ben, do you have any last words or pieces of advice that you want to share today?
I think that the main takeaway is that for those of you who've had eczema, don't give up. I think that a lot of our clients come to us having tried everything, and they wonder, oh, how is eczema conquest different from what I've done before? And I want to also be very open about this, that oftentimes some clients say, oh, no, the package is so expensive, and it's so pricey, and will this even help me? The short answer is that, of course, I can't promise you a cure, and no one can promise you a cure. However, we can promise you that we will approach your case with all of our tenacity, all of our experience, and having lived through it ourselves, we and having and I believe that no other naturopath sees eczema, sees 10 or 15 patients a day, back to back, and every day. So having that rich experience will equips us in helping you in your journey. And yeah, and we have seen a lot of successes in hand eczema, and if you wish to book a session, get in touch with our team.
Yep, and you can use the link in the description for that. And yeah, we'd love to talk to you and see how we can help you and assist you and really tailor something to you and help accelerate your results as well.
And one more thing to also share is, I think a lot of clients say, oh, the program is so expensive, and how is this helpful? One key thing which I really appreciate, and which I wish I had access to when I had full body eczema, was that the weekly office hours, because having access to my practitioner every week would be crucial. Because one big struggle I faced was that when I saw practitioners, then they would say, "Oh, great, now I'll see you in 4 weeks' time," and then in the 4 weeks' time, life happens, skin flares up, and then when I email them, they're busy, and then I can't book in. So in Eczema Congress, we have office hours, and some quite often even twice a week, where our clients, we have three practitioners who are great practitioners, and our clients come to our office hours, and they ask questions, they update us, and the office hours lets us not just have that sense of accountability, but also it lets us do minor protocol adjustments and minor tweaks to your protocols when things happen, or if let's say if you had a flare because of let's say dairy intake, or peanut butter intake. It lets us troubleshoot and keep your improvements going. And therefore, though there are only 3 or 4 sessions for our base package, but there's weekly check-ins, which becomes a lot of sessions. And so I really appreciate the weekly check-ins, and that keeps our clients healing journey um, uh, going, and it supports the healing process a lot.
For sure. And yeah, we appreciate everything that you do as well for our clients and for our team and program. And thank you so much for the valuable information that you shared today. And I hope everyone who's listening found this helpful as well.
Okay. And also, I think, Abby, I want to say that thanks to you for having this platform for fellow eczema sufferers. I think that it's because of your hard work and your efforts to build eczema conquest that has given this safe space for healing. So I appreciate what you do.
Thank you so much, Ben. And yeah, without our team, like none of this would have been possible. And our goal is just to see all of you healed and feeling better and finding relief. And I just interviewed someone today who said that her skin is like 99% healed. And I'll release that podcast soon. But she was just so thrilled and happy that she no longer is bedridden, but she can go on with her life and live normally again. So there's nothing that can compare to feeling that good and seeing healing like that too.
For sure. With eczema, I tell my clients that for those without eczema, taking a shower, or like having a meal is to many people is just normal. With eczema, taking a shower and not stinging and not being in pain, it's to us it's a luxury, and we can improve this, and we can get there, and healing does happen.
For sure. And yeah, I want all of you to remember that too. And that's why I called Eczema Conquers that name because I truly believe that we are more than conquerors through anything that comes our way. So I hope that helps all of you today. And I hope that you were able to take some information and hopefully it'll be helpful for you. Don't forget that we're here to support you if you need, and you can always book that complimentary breakthrough call. And we'd love to help see you find freedom from the flares and to see you find relief as well. So take care, everyone, and thank you for joining. Bye.
Myra.